Hello and welcome back to another Football Commentaries live stream. The festive fun really starts to take place as we have our lunchtime Boxing Day fixture where Preston North End host Leeds United at a sold-out Deepdale in the Championship. The home side under Ryan Lowe have experienced a real drop-off in the last few months with two poor spells, with one win in their last seven and another run with no wins in seven back from September to October. It leaves them 13th, but with a win today, without everybody else playing yet, it would put them in 7th, and that would be one place out of the playoff positions. For Leeds, they come into this game off the back of completing their league double over Ipswich this season after hammering them 4-0 at home in their last game. They were 3-0 up before the break with goals from Strauch, an own goal from their former player Davis, and a Somerville penalty with Pirro adding in the second half. The last meeting between these two sides was in fact on Boxing Day in 2019, where it ended all square at Ellen Road. This is the third time they will play each other on this festive day. So for 13th against third in the Championship, will Preston get their 6th home win of the season in the league, or will Leeds make it 3 wins from 6? We'll have to wait and see. This is the first fixture of the day, and it is one of the best days of the year in football for me, without a doubt. You know, if you're lucky enough to have your home fixture on Boxing Day, or you're lucky enough to go to an away game on Boxing Day, it is absolutely brilliant. There is no better fixture for me personally. I don't know what it is about it. I think it's just the best fixture to have at home. When you get your fixtures, for me at the start of the season, I always look for Boxing Day, and if my team is home or away. But these two sides, like I say, have met 3 times. This is the third time they've met now on Boxing Day, funnily enough. They met in 2019 with that 1-1 draw, and they also met in 2016 where Preston won 4-1. 4-1 under Gary Monk, their manager back then. So these two sides have met very recently in this fixture on Boxing Day, which is very interesting. But it is, it's got to a place where, Preston are seriously starting to slip. Sorry, but that was when Gary Monk was in charge of Leeds. It happened. Apologies. It's when Gary Monk was in charge of Leeds, when they were beaten 4-1 back in 2016, and Preston have actually lost their last 3 games on the bounce on Boxing Day, and they've all come against Yorkshire opposition. So they got beat by Leeds. They were beaten. So I need to get this right. On 2016 Boxing Day, Leeds won 4-1, and then Preston have also lost against Hull in 2018, and then they lost last year on Boxing Day in 2022 against Huddersfield. So they don't really have a fantastic record on Boxing Day, Preston, but they've got a big chance here. Interestingly enough, it's sold out Deepdale, and this will be their highest league attendance at the stadium since August 1971. And that's another thing about Boxing Day. Even though it can bring a few day trippers, it gets fans, it gets people in the ground, to get out of the house on Boxing Day. And, it builds up your attendance. And, it's one of the great things about Boxing Day. It does bring more fans to stadiums that maybe usually aren't as full or can't get to near full capacity. But Deepdale have apparently sold out for today's game, which is absolutely brilliant. And we'll go through both sides now. We've got about 5 minutes to go until we kick off here. So we'll start with the home side, and that's Preston North End, and Freddie Woodman returns back in goal after sitting on the bench in their last game against Swansea in a 2-1 defeat, which they were drawing until the 95th minute, when they lost to a Jamie Patterson winner. Back 3 of Jack Watmore, who comes in today for Jordan Storey, and alongside him in the back 3 is Liam Lindsay and Andrew Hughes. 2 wing-backs of right wing-back Brad Potts making his 195th appearance for the club today, and on the left-hand side of the wing-backs is going to be Liam Miller, who is on loan this season from Basel in Switzerland. 2 central midfielders of Ali McCann, who keeps his spot after that Swansea defeat, but a returnee is Ben Whiteman in the side today. He's got 2 goals so far this season, and he's playing his first minutes. He's playing his first minutes since couple of games ago when he was dropped to the bench and he didn't come off the bench against Swansea. And then a front three on the right is going to be Dwayne Holmes, who's joined this season from Huddersfield, where he got to the playoff final a couple of seasons ago with Huddersfield and before being beaten by Nottingham Forest. On the left is going to be Alan Brown, who's now been at the club for just nearly 10 years. He joined in January 2014, and leading the line up front, it was their club record signing in the summer from Cadiz in Spain, £2.15 million, and that is Milutin Osmajic, who leads the line, the Montenegrin international, who got his last goal for his country in October 2023 against Lebanon, and he leads the line. And their bench is David Cornell in the goal, who would play in the last game against Swansea. Central defender Jordan Story, who also drops to the bench. Left back 18-year-old Kean Best, Greg Cunningham, Ryan Ledson, Mads Frikaya Jensen, Ben Woodburn, Ched Evans and Will Keane on the bench for Preston. And for the Leeds United starting 11, it is Ilon Meslier in goal, the Frenchman making his 150th appearance today for Leeds United. It's his first ever game up against Preston North End. Right back is going to be Archie Gray, who's 17 years of age now, and he's featured in 22 of the previous 23 championship games. His last 12 appearances have been from right back. Left back is going to be Loney Jed Spence, who's making his fifth start against Preston North End. In two centre-halves of Joe Rodon, who's on loan this season from Tottenham Hotspur, and alongside him is number 21, Pascal Strauch. Two holding midfielders is going to be Ethan Ampadu, who's joined for £7 million in the summer, and alongside him is another summer signing in Glenn Kamara, who joined from Rangers in August of the summer. On the right-hand side is going to be Crescencio Somerville, who's in fantastic form. He's got 4 goals in his last 5, and he's scored 10 since October. On the left is going to be Dan James, who's got 7 goals himself this season in the league, 0 in his last 3. Just behind the striker, we think it's going to be Jorginho Rutter, who's got no goals in his last 5. And leading the line up front is going to be number 7, Joel Pirro, who's made 20 appearances for Leeds so far, scoring 9 goals, 3 in his last 6. And on their bench is Carl Darlow, Liam Cooper, Junior Firpo, Sam Byram, who returns to the bench after missing the last 3 games with injury, Ilya Gruev, Willie Nonso, Jaden Anthony, Patrick Bamford and Matteo Joseph, as well as both teams emerge from the tunnel at Deepdale in front of a sold-out Deepdale nonetheless. As I just mentioned before, their highest league attendance this will be since August 1971. Which team will be most awake to start this game? It's an early kick-off. It's 12:30 here in the Championship. As Preston are looking to make their home record 50% in the league. They've already played 11 in the league at home, and they've won 5 against Sunderland, Swansea, Plymouth, Birmingham and Coventry. So they want to make it 6 wins from 12 to boost themselves up to 7th. That's where a win would take them, up to 7th. But in fairness, every other Championship team would have to still play after them, but it would put them in a nice position to start the day. So what Preston North End side will we get today? Like I said, just 1 win from their last 7, which isn't a great run at all. And what I found out with Preston, they're conceding heavy defeats, really heavy defeats. They've been beaten 4-0 against West Brom back in late September, 4-2 against Ipswich, 4-0 against Middlesbrough as well. So a lot of heavy defeats for Preston North End this season, and they are leaking a lot of goals. They've conceded 40 goals already so far this season. In the whole of last season, they only conceded 59, so they're only 19 goals off conceding the amount they did last year, which isn't great for Preston. And from their last game against Swansea, which was a 2-1 defeat in the 95th minute, they have made 5 changes. You know, the goalkeeper's been changed, been 1 change in the centre-back. Left wing back Robbie Brady's been dropped out. He's out of the squad. Liam Miller comes in. Ledson drops to the bench. The central midfielder and Whiteman comes in. Then a change of striker with Osmajic coming in as well. And then, of course, for Leeds, as you can imagine, it's completely unchanged for Daniel Farke after that 4-0 battering of Ipswich Town, which was a fantastic result for them. And a win today for Leeds would keep them in third, and it'd put them 4 points behind Ipswich, who have obviously still got to play today, but it really put the pressure on Kieran McKenna's men. So both teams have got a job to do here. A win for Preston would put them right outside the playoff spots. That's where they want to be. It's where they need to get back to after dropping off. They started really well this season, Preston, where they were unbeaten in their first 8 games, winning 6 of those 8. All those 6 wins came in a row, and they've just dropped off since. Went 0 wins in 7 from September to October, and then they've hit another bad run of form with just 1 win in their last 7. So definitely room for improvement. Leeds have got 3 wins in their last 5 games, which is some decent form. Their away record has been okay. They've lost 4 times though already away from home against Birmingham, Southampton, Stoke and Sunderland. But at home, Leeds United have been absolutely fantastic. They are yet to lose at home in the Championship, 8 wins and 4 draws. And their recent form has been good as well. 1 loss in their last 10 for Leeds United. In that, there's 7 victories. So, based on form and statistics, you'd say Leeds will fancy themselves as we're underway here. Preston kicking off, kicking right to left. Leeds left to right as Leeds thump the ball away out of their own half into the Preston half, headed forward by Lindsay. Drops in the midfield on halfway, and it's played forward down the left-hand side. Osmajic will chase it for Preston. Rodin will get there first and go over the challenge of the Montenegrin striker. And it'll be a free kick for Leeds in a right-back area, taken quickly to Meslier in the Leeds goal in the 18-yard area. And it's now with Pascal Strauch forward into the left to Jed Spence, who enters the Preston half. Keeps the ball moving, poking it to Somerville, who goes backwards here to Strauch. And then across to number 14, Joe Rodon, who is yet to lose against Preston North End in his career. 5 previous times he's played against Preston came when he was at Swansea. So he's got a good record against today's opposition, Joe Rodon, as the midway side of the Leeds half. And it's Strauch forward and out to the left to Spence. He's getting forward from left back, tackled there by Holmes. And they'll go out for a throw-in for Leeds United, midway side, the Preston half on the far side. Good tracking back there from number 25, Dwayne Holmes. As Spence takes the throw-in, and it goes out of play for a Preston throw-in this time. Couldn't quite keep possession there, Jed Spence. And there is Daniel Farke, the German manager who's won this division twice, previously with Norwich in 2019 and 2021. As Strauch clears once again on this far side, it'll be Preston throw-in on the halfway line. It's Brad Potts with the ball in his hands here. Preston number 44, coming up to 4 years at the club now. The English wing-back. He throws it down the line. Somerville tries to take it away from Osmajic, and they do just that. And then Preston win it back through Potts on their right-hand side. Good defending. And then a switch out to the left there by Lindsay. Goes so far behind Liam Miller on the Preston left. And it goes for a Leeds throw-in. Taken quickly by Gray. Back into his own half here with Ampadu. Inside to Kamara. And then back to Rodon, who's got loads of time in space on the ball. Not a great pass there from number 6, Liam Lindsay, the Glasgow-born centre-back for Preston. Just didn't quite get his foot around the ball. He hit it dead straight and it went right out of play for a Leeds throw-in. As on halfway, it's number 4, Ethan Ampadu. He's played every single minute so far this season for Leeds in all competitions. That includes the 2 League Cup games as well. Where Dan James there, tackled by Hughes, and he goes inside here to Lindsay, who clears it quickly. It's a high one, it loops towards the halfway line. It's a header one by Strauch, straight to Holmes for Preston, who sends it out to the right here to Potts, just inside his own half here. He'll send it down the line. It's a low-driven pass, which can be intercepted by Strauch. And he's back with Leeds inside their own half with 3 minutes in, yet to have a shot on goal from either side, as Ampadu goes long over the top, down the left-hand side, where it's just a bit overhit there for Rutter. Couldn't quite latch onto it. It's well collected there by goalkeeper Freddie Woodman, who's also been promoted from this division a couple of seasons ago when he was on loan at Bournemouth. Went up automatically, finishing second as again a misplaced pass in the midfield there for Preston goes out of play. They need to clean up on their passing play to start this game. I'm sure that's something Ryan Lowe, the Preston manager, will be working on. It was his 100th game in charge of Preston in their last game away at Swansea. As mentioned before, ended in a 2-1 defeat. 95th minute goal conceded as Somerville is fed here down the left-hand side for Leeds. Tackle by Holmes again. Throwing for the away side, midway inside the Preston half. Quickly closed down there, the number 10 for Leeds, Crescencio Somerville, who's in some of the best form of his life, probably. 10 goals since October. It's now with left-back Jed Spence in the final third, getting forward from full-back, wanting to get onto stronger right foot. Goes over on the challenge of Holmes. Fair one, says the referee. Brown sends it down the right-hand side, headed away by Pascal Strauch. He gets there ahead of Osmajic. Decent searching ball there by the Preston captain, Alan Brown. Irish international. Last goal for his country came in November 2022. As Preston play out from the back here. He's with Watmore. Signed on a free from Wigan in the summer. It's now McCann. Back to the edge of the 18-yard box here to Liam Lindsay, who's played Leeds 3 times previously and he's lost every occasion. As he goes for a big switch out towards the right-hand side, kept in with the head of Holmes to Brown, who keeps it in towards Holmes, who wins the ball off Spence. It's now with McCann. Forward and out to the right to Brown. Got Osmajic in the box to aim for. He'll put it back low to the edge. Goes backwards here as Preston try and keep it. Hughes back to the halfway line just to keep the possession moving. It was with Lindsay. On this near side is Miller. Back heel down the line. It's a good bit of skill towards Hughes, the left centre half, who can't quite keep the ball. Tackled by Roden, who sends it down the line and he finds Dan James. Inside to Kamara. Forward to Pirro. First touches of the ball for the Dutch striker. Then down the line by James to Rutter. Outside the area, he's tackled by Lindsay. Good defending by the Preston North End centre half, and it will be a throw-in for Leeds right next to the corner flag on this near side. But it was good defending there from Lindsay, stopping one of the best players in the division in Jorginho Rutter. He's got it here in the corner flag, keeping it away from Miller momentarily before it getting poked through his legs, and it's another throw-in for Leeds, taken quickly towards Pirro. Cleared there, I think, by Miller, and it'll be another throw-in here for Leeds United on this near side. It's a bigger throw in towards James, loses out to McCann, forward by Brown to Osmajic, who will hold it up on the halfway line, overhits a touch, tackle by Strauch. It's now Jed Spence, passing the halfway line, having to go backwards here as he's on his more natural, weaker side, so it's more comfortable for him to go backwards and play a right-footed ball to Strauch. It's now Ampadu in the centre circle, driving forward. On the halfway line, he goes to his left here, 10-yard pass to Kamara. Then forward and further left to Spence. So Kamara again. Ampadu. Forward to Somerville. He's tackled there by Brown. Then Potts plays it to Whiteman. And now McCann back to Lindsay. The central centre half. He goes out to the right here to Potts. Cuts away from Somerville. And then plays it forward here to Holmes. And then back into Potts again. Still in the Preston half. Home team just keeping the possession as they go to number 6, Liam Lindsay, who made his 150th appearance in the Championship last time out. Is Hughes. There's a long ball over the top down the Preston left. No one's there to chase it. Goes straight through to Elan Meslier in the Leeds United goal. He's kept 8 clean sheets so far this season. 4 at home and 4 away. Leeds have got 3 clean sheets in their last 10 in the Championship. As the ball's been played here to Spence at left back here, getting forward from the defensive position into the final third towards the byline on his weaker left foot. He pulls it across, deflects into the air, controlled by Pirro, shot by Pirro, blocked by Brown, drops to Kamara 25 yards out, goes his right to Ampadu, forward to Rutter, onto his left foot, plays a pass to Pirro, who flicks it into the area and tries to get on the end of his own touch, but Woodman's out quickly to collect, and it remains 0-0. We're still yet to have a shot here at Deepdale, just under 8 minutes in, but them two linking up, that is a dangerous partnership. Joel Pirro and Jorginho Rutter. Rutter's now been at the club for just almost a year now, joined from Hoffenheim in January 2023 for £35.5 million, so you would almost expect him to be able to cut it at this level. As Woodman's kick forward comes off Osmajic, straight to Gray at right back for Leeds, whose clearance up the field is a little bit wayward, goes out for a Preston throw-in on this near side. Inside their own half, will be taken by number 16, Andrew Hughes, whose contract does expire at the end of the season for the Welsh centre-half. Cardiff-born, was released by Cardiff, actually, at the age of 15, the 31-year-old centre-half. as they've cut a camera to a man who I don't recognise, and we've come back with Leeds on the ball. So obviously that throwing was unsuccessful for Preston, and it's Leeds in their own half here with Roden. He spent last season on loan at Stade Rennais, making 21 appearances. They actually finished 4th in Ligue 1 last season. Stade Rennais. Somerville on the Leeds left, linking up with Spence, trying a 1-2, cut out by Holmes, who pokes it forward to Brown, lays it off to Potts on halfway, driving forward, trying to get away from Somerville. He finds Holmes again, who's then tackled by Spence, cleared forward by Kamara, straight to the feet of McCann, who goes back into his own half here to Watmo. And it's now with the goalkeeper, Freddie Woodman, forward to Lindsay. To the right centre half here, Watmore, who will drive forward, and he passes it into the Leeds half to Holmes on the Preston right. It's with Potts, finds Brown to his left, forward to Holmes, tries to play a pass forward, caught by Strauch, recollected by McCann. It's now Whiteman out to the left here to Liam Miller, 1-on-1 with Archie Gray, takes on the outside, puts a pull back in towards Osmajic. It's deflects, I think, off the Preston man, straight to right back Archie Gray, who's misplaced ball to James, has been won back by Preston. Now midway inside the Leeds half here with Liam Miller, formerly of Liverpool, the Canadian wing back. As here is number 6, Liam Lindsay. Of last season, Preston did finish 12th position, 6 points off Sunderland, who took the last playoff spot, so he was very close within the Championship last season. His centre-back Hughes charges forward into the final third, plays a pass to his right here to Brown, who gets onto his left foot, shoots from afar, blocked by Kamara, drops to Holmes on the edge of the box. He's got Potts out wide right, who's kept himself on side. He's been given the ball here. Goes back here to McCann, forward to Holmes. Back to McCann again on the far side. He crosses it early to the edge of the box, headed away by Strauch, headed out to the left by Hughes into Miller, who enters the box. Wants to get onto his right foot, pokes it back to Hughes again, who crosses with his left foot, headed away on the edge of the box by Kamara, back towards Hughes, who heads out to the left-hand side to Miller, who will get there ahead of Gray. Miller tries to turn Gray, and he's been brought down by the Leeds number 22, and that'll be a free kick for Preston. Nice bit of work there from the home side, who have been well in this game in the opening 10 minutes. He definitely seems very skillful, Liam Miller, in that left wing-back position. Might cause Archie Gray a few problems today. It's in the final third. It's on the far left, right on the near side. And it'll be number 8, Alan Brown, to take, whose 3 goals this season have all come in victories for Preston North End. Could he get an assist this time around? There's a one-man wall of Somerville, as everyone's in the 18-yard box here. Brown curls it in. It's right towards Meslier, who can punch it away. Out to the Preston right, where Holmes will let the ball run out for a throw-in. Good, confident goalkeeping by the Frenchman, Elon Meslier. There's Holmes here. Looks like he's just drying the ball with his shirt, so the 5'7" American might be able to throw this long into the Leeds 18-yard area. As he will throw it into the box, into the near post, headed away by Ampadu, drops back towards Holmes, who plays it backwards here to the halfway line to Watmore, as Somerville was closing down Holmes, and then Watmore will put a ball over the top down the right-hand side, just slightly overhit, and it'll run through for a goal kick for Leeds United. Not a bad passage of play there for Preston North End, as there is 13 points separating these two sides, and there's 10 positions that separate the two teams. As it's with Meslier on the penalty spot, playing it to his right centre half here, Roden. He will bring it forward and play a pass down the right-hand side, finds Dan James, who cuts back away from Miller, and then plays it forward down the line to Gray, who can take on Hughes, and then James takes on the loose ball. And the referee's decision will overrule the linesman, and there'll be a Preston throw in there. Heavy challenge on James. It was a fair one, and the Welshman obviously got the last nick off it. And there'll be a Preston throw in midway side their own half on the near side with number 16, Andrew Hughes. Looking for his options down the Preston left. Still yet to take the throw, and he does eventually down the line up towards halfway. Cleared by Roden. It just slices off his right boot. So it'll be another throw in here for Preston North End. And 3 players who started the last time these two met, exactly 4 years ago today, on Boxing Day 2019 start today. So Andrew Hughes was one of those who started 4 years ago in the 1-1 draw at Ellen Road. Alan Brown did, and so did Brad Potts. And for Leeds, no one starting today who started that game 4 years ago. 3 on the bench though, in Cooper, just 2 on the bench, sorry, in Cooper and Bamford. It's Preston forward here, shot towards goal on the edge of the box by Whiteman, blocked off Kamara, played down the right hand side here to Pirro, who's got the last touch there. I think it should have been a Preston throw-in. Referee gives it to Leeds. Well, were there by Preston. Miller on the left hand side, 1-2 there with Osmajic, and he pulled it low, Miller, into the box, or to the into the box, which deflected towards Whiteman off Strauch. And as Whiteman had the strike, it came off the back of the thighs of Glenn Kamara. And on the halfway line, a free kick's been given for Leeds. Late challenge there by McCann on Jorginho Rutter, given by today's referee, John Smith. Taken by Ethan Ampadu, and it's Rodent for Leeds in the centre circle, looking out to the right-hand side, and he'll play simple ball here to Gray. And he goes back here to Rodent. Just one defeat for Leeds in their last 10 games, and that defeat came away from home to Sunderland back on the 12th of December. There's a ball down the left-hand side, finds Somerville. Can he keep it in ahead of the byline? He can't. He runs out of play. Goal kick for Preston. That's definitely the man they want to get on the ball today, Crescencio Somerville. Only scored 1 goal in his first 6, and now he's got 6, and now he's got 4 in his last 5. Definitely a man in form during this festive period for Leeds United. Preston do have an easier game coming up next time. They're at Sheffield Wednesday at home on the 29th. They currently sit 23rd in the table. As Woodman's goal kick out to the left is kept in by the head of Hughes. Picked up here by Miller, who can't get beyond Pascal Strauch, who came over to the Leeds right-back area to defend for his team. As Ampadu plays it forward to Somerville. Nice ball here. Midway side the Leeds half, it's Kamara out to the left here to Ampadu. Spence getting forward from left back, finds the loanee from Spurs, and he's tackled there, and it'll be a throw-in for Leeds United. Thrown in quickly to Kamara. Plays it forward to Somerville, back to the Preston goal, but he gets away from Potts and Holmes, but met by a very strong tackle there from McCann, and it's a fair one. And I think a throw-in has been a one eventually, as 2 Leeds players have ended up on the floor. The Somerville challenger is strong, and I can see why he may have been hurt, but doesn't mean it's not a clean challenge. Yeah, got the ball very strongly there, McCann, and he actually did a forward flip there, Somerville. Not even joking, McCann got the ball, yeah, and he did a full forward flip there, Somerville. Very unnatural, and then Ampadu was also tackled there. He went down holding his right foot, but the referee didn't see anything wrong with either challenge, and he's given a Preston throw-in in the end. Somerville does seem in a lot of discomfort after his forward flip there. And Daniel Farke isn't happy. Yeah, it looks like when he flipped over, I think he landed a bit awkwardly on the back of his neck, maybe. It's not like they haven't got good depth, though. Leeds United, they've got Wilfred Nonto on the bench. They've also got loanee Jaden Anthony, who they've brought in from Bournemouth. He was promoted in the 2020-2021 season with 8 goals in 45 for Bournemouth. It looks like he'll be the one to come on if there is a change to be made, because Wilfred Nonto isn't even warming up. All focus here is on Crescencio Somerville, so I do presume Ethan Ampadu's okay. But Daniel Farke, not the greatest record against Preston, just 2 wins in 7. He's never beat them away from home. 4 draws in those 7. 1-0-0 back in April 2018. I say he's got a bad record. It is only 1 loss in 7, but it's only 2. If you look at it as 2 wins in 7, then obviously he does struggle to find the 3 points against today's opponents. Daniel Farke. After a bit of treatment, Somerville's back to his feet. I'm pretty sure he'll be okay to continue, as I'm sure the Dutchman won't want to come off anytime soon. Did represent his country at under-21s in the summer, Crescencio Somerville, in the under-21 European Championship. Yet to make a senior appearance, though, for the national side. Zampadu is absolutely fine. Preston have got a throw in, and they throw it back into their own half here with Watmore. Somerville will have to wait to come back on the pitch as Watmore sends the ball out to the left-hand side. Comes off the head of Gray, straight to the feet of Liam Miller, who brings it down in the final third. He's got James to take on, gets onto his right foot, puts the ball all the way through, and it just curls past the post. Meslier is not happy with his defence, allowing that ball to go in. Too easy for him to cross it there. Dan James just being a bit lazy with his defending, and it goes right through towards the far post, where I think Brown ran across it. The captain couldn't meet it, and it missed Roden, and it went wide of the post for a goal kick. That was certainly not far away for Preston as Spence is tackled by Holmes, and it'll be a Leeds throw-in on the far side. Definitely think Preston have probably been the better side going forward, really. Leeds haven't really done much at all. I don't think they've even had a shot yet on goal. Just the one shot for Leeds United. As on halfway line, Rutter loses it. Brown forward to Holmes. Then on once more to Osmajic, who can't quite beat Roden to it in the final third in a right wing position. And Leeds can play out from the back here with Glenn Kamara in a left back position. He goes across to goalkeeper Meslier. And then once more to his right here to number 21, Pascal Struck. He spent a couple of years he spent quite a lot of years at Ajax before moving up in 2018, as he actually had to compete with Sven Botman for a place in the Ajax youth team, so he decided to move on, try and find some more minutes elsewhere. There's a ball over the top down the Leeds left. Will be dealt here by Watmore. Yeah, he'll see it out well. He had Rutter right on his back there, try to avoid the goal kick, but he was able to defend very calmly there. Jack Watmore, he was making his 50th appearance in the Championship. He played for Wigan last season in this division, scoring the one goal in a 1-0 win in February against Huddersfield. That really isn't a bad ball there from Miller beforehand, where it just went past the far post. He was always curling in as well, just didn't curl in enough to go on target, as Woodman sprays it out to the Preston right here for Potts. Inside to McCann, controls it and keeps it away from Kamara and finds Potts again in the Preston half. He's been tackled by Somerville. It's not the place you want to lose the ball. And Somerville then is absolutely cynically brought down there by Brad Potts, who will be booked by referee John Smith. Rightly given yellow card there. Just lost it on the Preston right in his own half. Somerville with a good tackle actually, and then he was bursting away, the Dutchman, and then as the ball had already gone, Brad Potts just went in with the slide tackle. And, yeah, caught Crescencio Somerville. It's his 7th yellow card of the season for Brad Potts. And it's a free kick here for Leeds. Quite far out, about 35 yards out, just towards the left side of the 18-yard area. So, if it was a bit closer, it'd probably be the perfect angle for a shot. But it's probably going to have to be a cross into the 18-yard area, which Somerville puts in. It's a header won by Roden. And it goes quite far wide in the end, but he won the head of the Welshman. It was a good ball from Somerville. Had the curl and the pace. And Roden got up there above Potts, who gave away the free kick. And he headed it towards goal. It was quite far wide in the end. Should have done better there, the number 14. But it's another chance for Leeds. They've not had many so far today. No, they were 2-0 up against Ipswich at home in their last game in the 25th minute. We're nearly 23 minutes in here. We're still yet to have a goal as Woodman's goal kick goes out to the Preston left. Headed forward by Hughes. Helped inside by Osmajic. Can't quite find Miller. Won back by Ampadu for Leeds. Good midfield work from the Welsh international. It's now back with Meslier in the 18-yard area for Leeds United. It's now with Roden. He's dribbling away from his 18-yard area. Not being pressed here by Preston North End. It will go back, though, to Elon Meslier as he was quickly being closed down by Ben Whiteman. Roden again. Dribbling towards halfway. Playing across to his left to Ampadu. Forward to Pirro. Finds space in behind for Spence. In the box on the left-hand side. He will dribble outside the area as he's got Holmes on his back and he's been brought down by Dwayne Holmes, and that'll be a free kick for Leeds United. Good work there from the away side. Like I say, with Spence playing at left back when he's right-footed, he's a little bit unnatural, so he had to dribble outside the area to keep possession, and then he was eventually brought down. So it'll be a free kick right near the byline here, so very tight angle, so no chance for a cross here, no chance for a shot here for Somerville, but a very dangerous chance for a cross. Strauch's in there, Pirro's in there as well, Rutter, Roden. We've got plenty of tall bodies in there, all of them over 6 foot. Somerville to put his second cross in, quick succession. 2 arms in the air from the Dutchman. He puts the ball in towards the far post where it's Ampadu to win the header. And again, it goes very far wide. Definitely need some heading practice, this Leeds United side. That's 2 chances very quickly where they've had headers put quite far wide. It was that far wide. It came off the head of Roden, who was at the far post, was running away from goal. Shocking header that from Ampadu, really. Who's obviously a very trusted person from Daniel Farke this season. Signed for £7 million from Chelsea for Ampadu, and he's played every minute so far this season in all competitions. He has suffered 2 relegations in his career quite recently. One last season with Spezia, and then he was also relegated with Sheffield United in the Premier League in 2021. There'll be a throw in here for Preston on this near side with number 6 Liam Lindsay. He'll throw it across here to Jack Watmore in his defensive third here. Goes to his right to Potts, being closed down here by Somerville, so sends it down the right-hand side. It's a long ball. It's a header inside by Brown, collected by Ampadu. Nice touch into Kamara. He'll drive beyond the halfway line. He's got Pirro making a run forward. He sends it to the left to Rutter instead, who's tackled nicely by Potts. And it's now with Potts in a right-back position for Preston. Clears it long again. It's a high one up towards Osmajic. Loses that to Strauch. Ampadu lifts it forward towards Kamara. Headed forward by Potts. Played out to the left by McCann. It will be collected by Hughes. Played forward in towards Osmajic, who's tackled there by Roden. And it will drop to Ampadu. Then Roden again. Back to Meslier. Osmajic will close him down, but he played it to the left to Strauch in the defensive third for Leeds. Now on the far side with Spence. Down the line to Somerville. Ball inside to Kamara. He just about keeps it away from Brown. And then goes across to his right to Roden. Forward to the right back, Archie Gray. Very versatile, the 17-year-old. Usually a central midfielder. But has been transformed into a right back the last couple of months. Obviously, you'll know famously that his dad, granddad and uncle all played for Leeds, as well as what a ball that is to Spence. Down the left, cut back. Pirro can't catch it. Headed away by by Watmore, sorry. In the end, it's not a very good clearance, only as far as Ampadu, midway inside the Preston half. Goes forward to Rutter. Onto his left foot, from the edge of the box, he shoots. It's blocked by Potts. Loose ball drops to Strauch. Out to the left to Spence. Inside to Rutter. Back to Spence again. Goes to his right to Ampadu. Dribbling forward and playing it to his right to Kamara, who's got all the time in the world here for Leeds to just calmly slot it out to the right-hand side here to Archie Gray. It's now James, everything to his left here for the Welshman, who will cross early. Deflects off Hughes. Back to James, who tries to hook it around him. And he's been brought down late there by Hughes. And it'll be another free kick on the far side, on the near side, on the far right for Leeds United. Not his best time tackle there from Andrew Hughes. Like I say, Dan James just got there ahead of him and tried to flick it over his head, but was caught by Hughes. It's been taken short. It's now with Kamara to Somerville on the right wing. Has to go back to Gray as he had Miller right next to him. Strauch. Ampadu. Midway inside the Preston half. Goes out to his left to Spence. On his weaker left side. He goes on the outside. And he tries to get back on his right foot. Playing it off Holmes for a throw in for Leeds. Right next to the corner flag here. And Spence will throw it back to Ampadu. Inside to Pirro. Ball back out to the left. Finds Spence. Is he coming back for an offside position? Linesman says no. Cleared by Potts. Another throw in for Leeds. Midway side the Preston half. Preston with the 3 wins in their last 10. 9 wins altogether so far this season in the Championship. This is Rutter. Loses out to Brown. Whiteman in the Preston half. Goes back to Lindsay, who volleys it away down the right-hand side. It's miscued. And it goes out of play for a Leeds throw-in inside their own half here. That'll be number 39, Jed Spence to take it, who was promoted in 2022 from this division, from Nottingham Forest, before getting his move from Middlesbrough to Spurs, where it's just not quite worked out for him. As Leeds lose it on their left-hand side. It's now Brad Potts getting forward. He's got options out to the left. He finds Miller. Edge of the box on his right foot. He will strike it and he'll blaze it over the crossbar. Not good enough there by Liam Miller, who scored on his Preston debut against Plymouth in September. And he also got the equaliser against Swansea in their last game. Not quite found his shooting boots there. Straight into the stands where those Leeds United fans are congregated. Hour and a half drive to Preston for Leeds this lunchtime. The Leeds have got a very difficult away fixture coming up against West Brom on the 29th, and then they've got Birmingham on New Year's Day at home, and then they've got Peterborough away in the FA Cup. As the last touch comes off Archie Gray, and that'll be a throw in for Preston. Midway side, the home team's half. Archie Gray just losing out there to Liam Miller. Got more commentaries coming up, got one tomorrow. Brentford against Wolves in the Premier League, and then on the 30th we've got Celtic against Rangers, Old Firm derby, and then on New Year's Eve we've got Arsenal away taking on Fulham. Down the line by Hughes, headed away by James, straight up towards Rutter, who will hold it up against Lindsay, and he'll turn away from him. Great skill from Rutter, and he can't quite get away from the huge slide challenge from McCann, and that'll be a yellow card there for the central midfielder. Rutter did well to turn away from Lindsay, and then McCann came in because he knew when Rutter gets going, it's hard to stop him, and he came absolutely flying in. Didn't take down Rutter, but he definitely caught him and kind of made him stumble. And the Northern Irish central midfielder goes in the book. And Leeds have possession just over half an hour in. We're yet to have a goal here at Deepdale. All Preston plays behind the ball as Roden sends it to his left to Strauch. Furthest left here is Spence. Trying to get away from Holmes. Just about releases it before he's tackled, and he finds Kamara. It's now Ampadu on the halfway line. Again, got time and space to find a pass. Goes to his right to James, who's got Archie Gray ahead of him from right back. He's got Rutter, who's also drifted out to the right-hand side. And he plays it to Rutter, back to goal. Can he turn Lindsay again? No, he can't, because he's been pulled down by the centre-half. And both players have ended up on the deck. Lindsay gets up as soon as possible. I think he'll escape the booking this time. Liam Lindsay, as he just grabbed the shirt, I think a bit of both shirt and shorts of Jorginho Rutter, not letting him turn him again, like he did just a minute ago. So another Leeds free kick. Where they're getting these free kicks, they're not in shooting areas. Which, if you're going to give away free kicks, you don't want them in those kind of, those areas. So it is Somerville over it. Again, about 35 yards out, so only a chance for a cross. And he'll put it in. It's headed through. Asks for handball, not given. Cleared by Preston in the end. I think Strauch was the one who flicked it through. And it just didn't drop for a Leeds player in the end, as it's Kamara on the ball in the Preston half. Loads of time to find a pass. He goes across to his right to Gray on halfway. Goes to his left to Roden. Now Strauch, the captain. Captain in this side at the age of 24. Club captain Liam Cooper is on the bench when he's not playing, and I think when Luke Aylin's not available, it is Pascal Strauch to captain the side. Strauch forward to the left to Spence. Midway side the Preston half. On the far side, he's got Rutter as an option. He'll go to Rutter. He will dribble down the left-hand side, gets away from Potts and Holmes around the outside of the two, towards the byline, in the box, cuts it across. James controls it. Can he shoot it? Yes, he can. It's blocked, and it will roll out for a corner. Protected for that set piece by Archie Gray, who let it run for the corner on the near side. He's so good, Jorginho Rutter. Too good for this division, but probably wasn't good enough for the Premier League, but used his pace to get away from Potts and Holmes, and his cutback wasn't bad as well. Found Dan James, who took the touch and then took his shot, but it was blocked in the end. Asked for handball there is the flick on from Strauch from that previous free kick. I think came off the hip of Watmore. Is Somerville outswinger in the box, header won by a Preston man, and that's Liam Lindsay. It'll drop to the edge of the box here to James. He goes all the way back to the halfway line to Gray, as he was being closed down there by Miller. It's now Kamara in a left-back position for Leeds. Just taking his time to find his option. He'll lay it off to Ampadu. He'll go to his left against Kamara. Towards Spence. It's a short ball. He's been pickpocketed by Potts. And he'll dribble on the inside here. Potts, he needs to release it, and he will do very nicely to the left-hand side to Miller. from wing back in the final third. We know he wants to get onto his right foot. That's what he'll try. He'll chop back on towards his left. In the box, onto his right foot, and he'll shoot, and it's had to be tipped over by Meslier. If there's one player causing problems for Leeds United, it's Liam Miller on loan from Basel. Causing Archie Gray and Dan James a lot of problems on that Preston left. And his shot that time was down the centre of the goal, but it had a bit of dip and a bit of height, so it just had to be tipped over by Meslier. But it wasn't a bad attempt from Miller. He was looking for goals in back-to-back games for Preston North End. But on the far side, they'll have an out-swinging corner kick here from Alan Brown. As the referee wants just a quick chat here with Ben Whiteman, the Preston North End player who's just standing near Elan Meslier. As we will get this corner kick for Preston. In it goes. It's an outswinger. It's a header won by Strauch. Helped away by Spence. All the way back to the centre circle for Preston. Sent out to the left-hand side. Controlled by Hughes. Laid off to Miller. Now running one-on-one with Spence. He's got Hughes on the outside. And he will eventually play it to Hughes in a left wing position here. Centre-back will try and cross. And I think it's deflected off Spence for another corner. I think in terms of like half chances, it's been pretty even. I don't think either side have really been better than the other at creating chances. The Leeds have had a bit more of the possession, but Preston have definitely been equally as dangerous when they have got forward. The most dangerous player certainly being Liam Miller at left wing back. As it'll be the captain Brown to take again. This time it'll be an in-swinger with that right boot of his. In it goes, right towards the goalkeeper who has to punch away off his line. Headed away by Somerville on the edge of the box. He'll chase down his own header as he'll drop here to Preston's number 13, McCann, who will send it forward into the box towards Watmore, who loses out to Spence. And Spence will clear it now for Leeds. Up towards the halfway line, cut out by the head of Holmes. Towards the centre of the field where Brown gets it to McCann. Forward to Watmore. Lays it off to Holmes. Midway side, the Leeds half. He'll put an early cross in. It deflects and loops into the box. Headed away by Ampadu. He'll drop to the right back, Gray, who leaves the 18-yard box and will be tackled by Brown. Bad giveaway from Gray. Brown enters the box. Goes down over the challenge, but it's a good one by Gray, who then misplaces a touch and then takes down Miller. And it'll be a free kick for Preston right outside the area on the left-hand side. Did so much good and so much bad there, Archie Gray. Gave the ball away to Brown, but then recovered well in the box to tackle cleanly. And then as he brought the ball away after the tackle from Brown, he then overhit the touch and gave it to Miller and then brought him down. So a great opportunity for a cross here on the left-hand side. It's like a better angled corner for Alan Brown, who's had 2 corners in the last 2 minutes. He's now got a free kick. The last corner he took, he tried to bend it into the goal. He might try something similar again here, as that near post is looking very empty. Plenty of Preston bodies in that 6-yard box. As Brown will deliver it towards that near post and it hits the side netting. Needs to at least get it on target as a minimum there, Brown. As he did see that space at the near post. But he hit the side netting. It's just not quite good enough from the Preston captain. As Leeds will dribble out from the back here with their centre-half Joe Roden. 10 yards before the halfway line. He plays it forward into the Preston half to Rutter. Can't quite turn away from Lindsay. Ball drops here to Watmore, who misplaces the ball in the midfield. Picked up by Rutter again for Leeds, who's drifted out to the right-hand side. He's got James in behind. He tries to feed it to him. It will deflect towards him. Cleared by Hughes. It's a looper. It's met by Gray. Headed by Hughes. Out down the left-hand side to Miller, who keeps it in the Preston half. He goes inside, looking for Whiteman, who then goes down under the challenge of Ampadu, but the referee doesn't see it as a free kick. Thrown on the near side for Leeds. Inside the Preston half. As we're getting ever so close now to half-time. Not many huge chances. Probably the biggest one came for Preston with Liam Miller forcing that save from Meslier a couple of minutes ago. As Gray takes that throw and gets the return. Tackle by Whiteman. Drops to Miller, who's kept it in there, but he's tackled by Gray. And then poked out by Whiteman, who just gives a little shove in the back there by Rutter, who didn't like it, but nothing goes of it. As Ampadu's ball is slightly short, but it's helped forward by Strauch. Met by Watmore, who goes forward towards Osmajic. The header from Strauch, though, straight out to the Preston left. To Miller, who goes back into his own half with a pass to Hughes. Then back to Miller again. All Leeds players behind the ball now, as the pass goes back into the Preston half here with Lindsay. Squares the ball to his right to Watmore, who did win League One title with Wigan a couple of seasons ago. As his ball forward to Holmes is a good one. And then Holmes is taken down by Spence from behind. Free kick for Preston, about 10 yards inside the Leeds half, so it's quite a way away. But definitely a chance to thump this in the box, get a bit of height on it, bit of distance, ask a question of the Leeds defence. So it will be Brown to take it. He does seem like the out-and-out set-piece taker. He'll go short down the right-hand side to Holmes. Brown makes a run down the right. Holmes will go on his own, then play it through to Potts in the area. He needs to get the cross right. It goes in the box. It's headed away at the near post by Ampadu. And it'll be a corner kick for Preston on the far side. Well cut out there by Ampadu. Good short free kick by Brown to find Holmes, who then made a dummy run, which gave Holmes more space to run into. And he played it into the box to Potts, who kept away from Pirro and Spence, and then worked his cross onto the head of Ampadu. And it's a corner for the home side with 5 minutes left of the 45. The usual suspects in the box for Preston, as Brown's delivery needs to be better than his free kick just beforehand. In it goes. It's off the head of Hughes, but there's a free kick for Leeds within the taking of the corner, so it'll be a set piece for Leeds inside their own 18-yard box. Not quite sure who committed the foul there for Preston. I didn't really see what happened, but the referee saw something and he's given it. And it's now Leeds to play out from the back, edge of the area. Strauch forward to Ampadu, allowed to turn and face forward and play a ball over the top, which has been cut out by the volley of Woodman, who had to come out of his 18-yard area. Down the Preston right, chested touch by Spence, gets away from him, and he'll meet it ahead of Osmajic. And eventually it's brought down there by Ampadu. I think the free kick's gone Preston's way. Spence had a poor touch and then got there to clear it. But as he's got there, I think he's just taken out Osmajic. So he chested it down and then Spence cleared the ball first, in fairness, and then took out Osmajic. And yeah, it'll be a drop ball. I didn't think he'd give a free kick there. The referee, he stopped play just to see if Osmajic was okay, and it looks like if you were watching the game, he just did a little bit of a hand where he thought about signalling for a free kick, but he didn't in the end. It was pretty fair. Spence got there first and took out Osmajic, but it wasn't anything too dangerous as Leeds come forward down the right-hand side in the final third. Dan James, early cross, header away by Lindsay, controlled by Miller in the 18-yard box, goes out to Hughes, who feeds it down the left-hand side to Miller again, who goes on the inside of Gray, keeping it away from the 17-year-old, and then playing a high ball over the top, looking for Brown, header away by Strauch, midway side his own half, forward to Kamara, on once more to Somerville, who can't get away from Watmore, but it'll drop to Pirro, whose turn invites the tackle from McCann, and he wins it back for Preston, out to the right-hand side here to Holmes. Down the right-hand side, finds Osmajic in the final third, just outside the 18-yard area. He's tackled by Roden. Oh, and he gives the throw into Leeds. He thought about giving it to Preston. And then Roden argued his case that it was a Leeds ball and the linesman give it his way. So right next to the corner flag on the far side, Leeds have got a throw in. So if they lose the ball here, it could be dangerous. They've got to get this away if possible. There's Alan Brown here. He's stopping the players. He's just tying his laces. The Preston number 8. He did score in the last meeting between these two on Boxing Day 2019. Gave Preston a 22nd minute lead before that being cancelled out by Dallas in the 89th minute. Spence clears away from that throw-in for Leeds into the Preston half off the top of the head of Lindsay. And it'll be headed out to the right by Pirro. Can't find Somerville. Volleyed away by Hughes. Headed forward by Roden into the Preston half. Headed back into the Leeds half by McCann. Then Kamara forward to Pirro, who can get it to James and returns it to Pirro, whose touch just got away from him there in the end. And it's cleared away by Lindsay for a Leeds United throw-in. The problem with Leeds, they're getting forward and they're having the ball, but they've had 7 shots so far. 0 on target. Need to start finding and challenging Woodman in the Preston goal. Spence loses out to Potts and Osmajic is took out on the Preston right by Strauch. And that'll be a free kick just inside the Preston half for the home side. A win for Preston will put them up to 33 points. And 33 points would see them only go up to 12th, so they'd go up 1 spot. But a win would put them up to 7th spot for now, before any other games are played in the Championship. If Preston down the left-hand side, cleared away by Ampadu, only as far as Miller, being chased down by Gray, but Miller will get away from him, but then tackled by Kamara on the edge of the box, and then Kamara turns away from Brown, and that'll be a free kick for Leeds. Really good midfield play there by Glenn Kamara. It was signed for £5.5 million from Rangers, who signed him from Dundee for £50,000. So nice bit of profit there for Rangers. Did reach a Europa League final with Rangers a couple of seasons ago. It's Glenn Kamara just getting back to his feet there. It was a heavy challenge from Brown. It was just a good bit of skill from Glenn Kamara to turn away from Alan Brown. So we've hit the 45th minute here. Not quite sure how much has been added on. If there has been any added on from the referee. Strauch down the left-hand side to Spence, inside to Somerville. It's a bit of a high one, hard to control. One back for Preston with Brown just inside his own half. Plays it down the right-hand side. There's a gap for Holmes. They find him in the final third, in the box. Needs to square it. Chops back onto his left. Then onto his right again. Then back towards his left. He lays it off to the edge of the box here to McCann, who strikes well over the crossbar for Preston. And you just feel like that's a chance wasted. It was well won back off Somerville. Great ball by Brown to Holmes. And you feel like he's got to whip it first time. He then tried to turn one way, then the other. And then went back on the other way. And then eventually squared it to the edge of the box to McCann, who didn't quite catch it. Ali McCann, who's yet to score this season. And it's a goal kick for Leeds. It's been taken short to Strauch. I do apologise. I have no idea how long's added on. They've not put it on the screen yet. So I presume it might be 2 minutes, as we've played 1 minute and 12 seconds of added on time. Still in the Leeds half here with Kamara, being closed down by Brown. Goes out to the right-hand side here to Roden, who will cross that halfway line. And he'll play it forward here to Rutter. Out to the left to Spence. Good bit of football here, midway inside the Preston half. It's now with Kamara. He goes back out to Spence. He's got everything to his right here for Leeds. And into Kamara again. Pirro. Lays it off to Ampadu. 30 yards from goal. He's going to strike from afar, which deflects straight into the hands of Freddie Woodman. It is the first shot on target, though, for the away side. Even though it wasn't really a testing one for Freddie Woodman. 26-year-old goalkeeper. Who had played 68 successive championship games before being dropped to the bench in their last one against Swansea. As Woodman's kick out towards the Preston left goes all the way through, and that is where the referee, John Smith, will blow for half-time here. And it's not been a bad affair between Preston and Leeds, as at half-time at Deepdale it is 0-0. Leeds United have had more of the possession, but Preston have equally had the same amount of chances, and Preston have probably had the best chance. It came through Liam Miller around the half-an-hour mark, forcing a save from Elon Mellier, and he's definitely been the danger man for Preston in the opening 45 minutes. Leeds have been good at keeping the ball and working some openings, but not testing Freddie Woodman until that final shot in the second half, where it was deflected and it had no pace on it, and it could be easily caught. Rutter, at times, has shown his brilliance, causing a cutback for Jan James, which shot was blocked, but it's Leeds who have just dominated the possession of a little bit more. Preston are probably a lot more dangerous when going forward, and it means at half-time it is 0-0 here. And nothing really to write home about in the opening 45 minutes, unfortunately. It's what you want, though. You want an even game. Preston struggling at the minute. Just 1 win in their last 7. 3 wins from 10. So you don't want a one-sided game. They've definitely held their own in the opening 45 minutes against Leeds United. And Leeds haven't looked... what's the word? They haven't looked distressed or anything like that. Leeds look calm. They've just not been quite able to work the football that they usually like to play. But they're not worrying. They're not panicking. They're just letting the game go by, understanding that they've got to grow into the game first, and possibly in the second half after a team talk and a few more tactics given by Daniel Farke. And Leeds might come out and smash the second half. We'll wait and see. But I think they definitely need to up the tempo a little bit, Leeds, in the second half if they want to come away with the 3 points. But for Leeds, after beating Ipswich, we've beaten Ipswich in their last game. They could do a win in this one, getting a bit of momentum, because a win for Leeds would put them 4 behind Ipswich in second place, where they've got to play today. Ipswich play top of the table Leicester at 7:45. What a game that'll be. Ipswich against Leicester today in the Championship. But the other Championship games, we've already got one kicking off at 1 o'clock, and that's Millwall QPR. That's still 0-0. But the 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Championship are Coventry against Sheffield Wednesday, Hull welcome Sunderland, Huddersfield host Blackburn, Watford take on Bristol City, Rotherham are faced on with Middlesbrough, Southampton take on Swansea, West Brom and Norwich, Cardiff and Plymouth, as Plymouth wait for their first away win of the season. And then at 5:15 there is a kick-off between Birmingham and Stoke, and then obviously later on tonight is Ipswich taking on Leicester City. So some big games in the Championship today. There's Preston. Have definitely held their own in the first 45 minutes against Leeds. But it's one of them, I feel like if Leeds get the first goal, then I think it's only one way for them, and that's a victory. But if Preston can possibly get that first goal, they could take some points off Leeds today. But I think what the problem is with Preston, they're getting the ball out wide, more so to the left-hand side, but they're also using the right-hand side. They're just not getting enough crosses in the box. They're not really aiming or using Milutin Osmajic, who's up front today for Preston. He's not really had much of the ball. He's not had a lot of service. So, in all honesty, even though they're doing well out wide, I think they could do with putting more crosses in, possibly. Looking for Osmajic, or at least feeding him the ball, getting him to get some shots off at goal. As Osmajic, the striker, does have just the 4 goals so far this season, all coming at Deepdale. The second half will be getting underway in around 7 or 8 minutes time here. Is that a Sweden top? It is. It looks a bit like Leeds, the Leeds badge now. Now I look at the screen. But I got it yesterday off a mate. We had a little bit of a swap. I had a t-shirt which had Zidane on it, which didn't fit me, and he had this top that didn't fit him, so we just had a little swap. It wasn't really a present, it was a swap, and he gave me it, so I thought I'd represent. It is Sweden, and it has got pretty much the exact same colours as the Leeds badge. I'm not a Leeds supporter. Put that down straight. I don't support Leeds, but the colours are very similar. But yeah, there's a nice little Sweden top. I think it's 2021. I swear I remember seeing them wear this in the Euros. But I thought it's a nice little shirt. Thought I'd put it on. But quite like the yellow, bright yellow. You don't see many football shirts with bright yellow. So I thought it was a nice one when it was gifted to me yesterday. And they're just showing a few replays here from Liam Miller down the Preston left. And interesting about Liam Miller, Canadian, the left wing back, moved to England at the age of 13 for footballing reasons, where he originally joined Fulham from 2013 to 2016. Then he went from Fulham to Liverpool, where he made one senior appearance for Liverpool, Liam Miller, back against Shrewsbury in January 2020 in the FA Cup. He then left Liverpool to join Basel in 2021, where he's made 98 appearances for the Swiss team. And now he's on a season loan from Basel to Preston. Didn't have a great season at Basel last season, Miller, hence why he's gone on loan. He only managed to score one goal in all competitions. Actually got to the Europa Conference League final with Basel last season, knocked out against Fiorentina. But the season before that, he had a decent season, Liam Miller. I think got 8 goals in the league for Basel, but obviously last season didn't quite replicate those numbers, so he's been sent on loan to the Championship, and he's definitely been the brightest star today, which I think says a lot for Liam Miller, because when you've got the likes of Jorginho Rutter and Crescencio Somerville and Joel Pirot at the other end, to be the best player so far, it says a lot of the talent Liam Miller definitely has, the Canadian 24-year-old. The second half is coming up shortly, and I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if Preston do take a lead. They have been a decent team so far in the first half, but then again, with the quality that Leeds possess, they could take the lead at any minute through a moment of magic from one of their individual talents. But I definitely think this game is set up really nicely, which is what you want to see. Like I say, already scheduled on the channel are the next 3 commentaries that will be seeing off 2023. Tomorrow we've got Brentford hosting Wolves in the Premier League at 7:30, one of the earlier kickoffs in the Premier League, and then we've got on the 30th the Old Firm derby, Celtic against Rangers, and on New Year's Eve we've got Fulham at home to Arsenal, and then after New Year we've got plenty more commentaries coming up as usual on the channel. We've got West Ham against Brighton, Palace against Everton in the FA Cup. Might be doing Shrewsbury against Wrexham, but I'm not too sure. I've not decided if I'm going to be doing that one. And then Wigan against Manchester United. So we've got plenty of commentaries coming up on the channel before the end of the year and after the start of the new year as well. So make sure you keep checking the channel, seeing what commentaries are happening, and if they pique your interest, you can come and check them out. So we do have a Premier League fixture on as well, which I didn't know. Newcastle against Nottingham Forest. It's Newcastle 1, Forest 1. Isak penalty. Yeah, Isak penalty. Swedish. Don't know why I said it like that. Isak penalty, 23rd minute, and then a Chris Wood equaliser for Nottingham Forest in the 46th minute. So, even there at St James's Park, there's a win for Newcastle, would take them only 6th, can't get any further than 6th, and a win for Nottingham Forest would take them to 16th above Everton. So we'll keep you up to date with that fixture as well in the Premier League. We'll also keep you up with the other Championship fixture, which is on at the minute. That's Millwall QPR. That's 0-0 at the Den at the minute after half an hour. But second half will be getting underway shortly. Like I say, the third time these two have met on Boxing Day. Preston have lost their last 3 games on Boxing Day, as I mentioned before, but you might not have heard it if you weren't here. They've lost their last 3 Boxing Day games, all against Yorkshire opposition. They lost against Leeds in 2016, Hull in 2018, Huddersfield in 2022, and then they don't want to make it 4 in a row. Even though Preston need the wins to get them back near the playoffs, I think today they'd certainly take a point against Leeds and then look to try and get 3 points in their next game, which is at home to Sheffield Wednesday, who are currently 23rd. But I think it'd be interesting to see if any changes are made at half-time. I think for Preston, I think it's more of the same. I think for Leeds, I don't think there's anyone on their bench who you could turn to who will give them anything better than what they've already got. I think it's just more of a fact of maybe quickening up the play a little bit for Leeds United. You know, they have got plenty of attacking threat on the bench. You know, Wilfred Nonto, Jaden Anthony, Patrick Bamford and Matteo Joseph. They've got plenty of bodies on there, but, you know, when you've got Pirro, Rutter, James and Somerville already on, it makes you think, what, you know, I don't think making a change would make a whole huge difference yet. I think maybe later on in the half, when it gets a little bit later on, legs get tired, then you can bring the, you know, the pace and the trickery of Nonto and Anthony on the pitch. But it was absolute devastation as well for Preston in their last game, that 2-1 defeat to Swansea. You know, they went 1-0 down in the 60th minute through Jamie Patterson, then got an equaliser with Liam Miller 7 minutes later, and then Jamie Patterson got his brace completed in the 95th minute. It was a bad giveaway in the Preston half, and then he latched onto it and finished a nice ball down low into the bottom right corner. So that was a heartbreaker for Ryan Lowe, who's in charge of his 95th game today. 14 0-0s in those 95. You might remember last season with Preston, they had 9 0-0 games in the Championship last season. 5 of them came in their first 6 games. Yeah, it was a weird run of results for Preston, drawing so many 0-0. But they don't draw 0-0 as often anymore. Some obviously spicy games in the Championship coming up. No more so than that Ipswich game against Leicester at 7:45. That is seriously a big game. But I think there's a big Premier League game on as well at that time, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 8 o'clock. It's Manchester United Aston Villa. Bit of a 50-50 which game you pick. Because I think Manchester United Aston Villa will be a great game, but I think so will Ipswich Leicester. So some great games on Boxing Day. Has had a sold out Deepdale. It was sold out. There is a couple of empty seats, but it is nice to see Deepdale, you know, nearly full capacity. Something that doesn't happen that often at Preston North End. But it's definitely a game that both sides can take something from. I mean, at the start of the game, you probably say Leeds are favourites, rightly so, after beating Ipswich 4-0 at home. But Preston have definitely held their own, and you'll have to say they've created a few decent chances, not loads of dangerous ones, but the majority of the big chances did come from Liam Miller. I definitely think at half-time, Leeds United will be looking at a way to try and limit the effect of Liam Miller down that Preston left-hand side. So before we get back underway in this game, it's still Millwall 0, QPR 0, and then at half-time in that Premier League fixture, it is Newcastle 1, Nottingham Forest 1. Hopefully we get some goals in this second half, as I don't think we're getting any changes from the looks of it from either side. As unfortunately Archie Gray has been on the end of that fantastic first half performance from Liam Miller. He's not been doing too bad though, Archie Gray at right back. Now played the last 13 games in this position. He's now an England under-20 international as well, Archie Gray, only at the age of 17, born in March 2006. Absolutely crazy how much trust Daniel Farker has put in to Archie Gray. As it will be Leeds kicking right to left, right up towards their support, who are behind that goal to our left, and it'll be Preston kicking left to right. So Leeds to kick us off. Playing out to the left-hand side here to Somerville on the halfway line. Going back into his own half there to Kamara. He goes back out to the left to Somerville. Got everything to his right here, the Dutch winger. Gets away from Holmes and squares a ball to the right to Roden. He's been closed down here by Whiteman. Out to the right-hand side here. Finds James, who turns away from Hughes. Pulls the shirt there, Hughes. And then James goes down, and that'll be a booking, I think, for Andrew Hughes. I think. I don't know. I presume the booking was given, but the plays continued very quickly, so he might have escaped the yellow card there, Hughes. As Strauch gets out to the left here to Somerville. 1-on-1 with Holmes. Tackle by Holmes. Great bit of defending there from the winger. And he'll drive forward now, the number 25. He goes out to the right to Potts, asking a lot of him, and he won't get there ahead of Spence. And right on the corner flag, Spence plays it inside to Strauch, who then just gets it out of play for a throw-in for Preston. Didn't take any chances there, Strauch. But again, Holmes wins it in such a good area, but his pass just lets him down. Potts didn't have the pace there on Spence, as Brown gets it back off Spence after fouling him. And it'll be a free kick for Leeds in the left-back area. There is Patrick Bamford on the bench. He's yet to start this season for Leeds. Suffered with a hamstring injury in August and September. And he's come off the bench 14 times. He has got 2 goals against Preston previously at Deepdale in a 2-0 away win back in April 2019. As Preston have already won it back in the Leeds half with Potts. Goes across to the halfway line here to Hughes. Not got many options on that left-hand side. Lays it off to Miller. He's being followed here by Archie Gray. Goes on the outside of Gray. And he gets away from the full-back. And there's been a free kick off the ball given to Leeds. As Miller was charging down the left-hand side. I think Whiteman blocked off a defender to allow Miller to just run forward without any tackling going on. So we're 2 minutes into the second half. It's still 0-0. Bad giveaway of a free kick there, I think, by Whiteman off the ball. Because Miller was really charging away there, and he's been dangerous in this game so far. So Leeds have it midway inside their own half with the goalkeeper, Meslier. Keeps it moving to his left here to Strauch, the captain. Goes forward towards halfway, playing it into the space here for Somerville, who latches onto it. He's got Holmes chasing him down. He just loses his foot in there, Somerville, but he keeps it alive, and eventually the last touch comes off a Preston man. Throw in for the away side on this near touch line. And it'll be Spence to take it, the Leeds number 39. Throws it forward into Rutter, who enters the box on the byline. Can he find a cut back? He can. It comes off McCann. And that'll be a corner for Leeds. Still on the near side. Like I say, they're attacking in front of their away support now, which might suck that ball into the goal. It'll be a right-footed in-swinger here from Crescencio Somerville. Strauch's in there. Roden. Ampadu as well. Ball goes into the box. It goes all the way through. It deflects and eventually volleyed by Whiteman. Up to Miller on the edge of the 18-yard box. He tries to turn away from Dan James. Can't get away from the Welshman. It's now still high up in the field for Leeds. Roden inside to Spence. Threw it in behind looking for James, who has the pace to get there, to pull it back towards Pino. That's a great challenge from Whiteman. He made it from behind. And as Pirro was about to strike, Whiteman slid in there and just poked a right boot at the ball to take it away from the Dutchman and into the hands of Woodman. Really good defensive tackle there from Whiteman, as it looked like a certain goal for Pirro, as he was latching onto that ball in the 18-yard area. As Woodman out to the left of Miller, header inside, comes off Gray, and he keeps it away from Miller, and Gray will try and charge down the right-hand side. He's tackled by Whiteman. Whiteman, last touch off Gray, throwing for Preston on the far side, just inside the Leeds half. Throwing goes all the way back to Lindsay in the Preston half, the central centre-back. It's now with Woodman, the goalkeeper. Forward to Watmore. Forward to Brown on the halfway line. Try to play it around the corner, down the right-hand side, looking for Holmes. Goes out of play for a Leeds throw-in, midway side their own half. Couldn't quite find the Preston number 25 there with that first-time ball, Alan Brown. So it's Jed Spence with the throw-in from left-back. Down the line. Flicked on by Rutter. Cleared away by McCann. Brown only can find Spence, who goes down the left-hand side, and it'll go right through for Lindsay for Preston North End. It's now Lindsay, midway inside his own half, being closed down here by Pirro. So moves it to right centre half. Watmore. High ball down the right channel for Preston. Look for Osmajic, who can't quite bring it down ahead of Strauch. It'll bounce through for Meslier in the Leeds goal. He's been a little bit isolated. Milutin Osmajic, the Preston striker. You know, some will say he's had a bad game, but I don't really think it's his fault. Really lacked the service to the big man up front. As Leeds play out from the back with their goalkeeper Meslier, who was on the bench for France under-21s in the Euros in the summer. Shows the ability that France have in their youth setup when Mellier's on the bench for the under-21s. There's Rutter. Just inside the Preston half, overruns it. Tackle by Miller. Ball through to Osmajic, who's got Strauch on with him. He can't get away from the Dutchman. And it'll be a throw-in for Preston. Not bad forward play there from Osmajic. Again, when he got the ball then, he was just isolated, had no one near him. And then he was tackled by Strauch before he could even hold the ball up. Throw-in taken here to McCann. Tries to go down the line towards Hughes again. Comes off Rutter. Another throw-in in the final third here for Preston. On the far side. It'll be Hughes to take it. Into the box it goes to Osmajic. He's holding up. Flicks into the box towards a Preston man who's been tackled and it's cleared. Headed out to the left by Lindsay to McCann. Miller back to Lindsay to keep the ball for Preston. And it's now on the halfway line here with Watmore. Out to the right to Potts. Being closed down by Somerville. Goes down the line here to Holmes. Goes back to Potts. Somerville's chasing him. He goes backwards here to Watmore. And then into the 18-yard box to Freddie Woodman. Good pressing here from Leeds to force Preston back. Big clearance out to the left-hand side. Miller tries to head it in. Won by Gray instead. Forward by Roden. All as far as McCann on the centre circle. And he gets it out to the right to Brad Potts. Plenty of bodies in the box. He'll cross it. It's a floater towards the far post where it's well caught there by Elon Meslier. And there's a bit of afters here between Meslier and Whiteman. They lock heads here. And then Meslier shoves Osmajic to the ground. And it's a red card! Oh my word. Elon Meslier has been sent off for Leeds. There was a little bit of afters when the cross was collected by Meslier. Him and Whiteman just locking heads together. And then Osmajic came over to obviously give a little bit of grief towards Meslier. And as Osmajic comes over, Meslier just hit his hand over towards his face. The referee sees that as enough to be a red card. And the game takes a turn. Elon Meslier sent off for a hand in the face of Milutin Osmajic. And what changes will now be made? It was a floater by Potts, collected by Meslier, who had a bit of shoving and a bit of head wrestling with Ben Whiteman. Then Osmajic came over, gave Meslier a little bit of a shove, nothing too aggressive. And then in retaliation to the Osmajic push, Meslier just slaps him away with his right hand straight into the front of the face, and he gives the referee very little chance but to have to send him off. How the tables can turn ever so quickly in the Championship. It'll be Carl Darlow to come on as their backup goalkeeper. He's only made 2 appearances so far this season. They both came in the League Cup before they were knocked out in the second round by Salford of League 2. Roden has also been yellow carded within that whole situation of pushing and shoving, and even though he's been starved of service, Milutin Osmajic, who's also gone in the book himself for his part in the whole fight. I don't even know what to call it. It wasn't much going on. And a very frustrated Joel Pirro will have to be sacrificed for the goalkeeper, Carl Darlow. Carl Darlow's got plenty of Championship experience. He won the title with Newcastle in 2017, playing 34 of the 46 league games that season. And just a rush of blood to the head there by Elon Meslier on his 150th appearance for Leeds, sees him sent off It was his right hand like that, fully in the face like that. And the referee had no real option but to send him off for violent conduct. So Joel Pirou off for Carl Darlow. And it's 11 v 10 now. Preston have got the upper hand. They've been well in this game anyway. So the fact they've got an extra man will definitely help them maybe try and steer themselves towards the 3 points. It's Leeds playing out from the back with Roden. He goes back into the edge of the box to Carl Darlow, whose last game against Preston was in that title-winning season with Newcastle. As Somerville can't quite keep the ball in from the Spence pass. Throwing for Preston just inside their own half here on the near side. Very silly by Meslier. It was very silly by Meslier. It didn't seem like there was a lot in it. In terms of like him and Whiteman, who were the first two to kind of shove around each other. Like there was nothing going on. And then Osmaic just came in and then Meslier was having none of him getting involved and just shoved him in the face with his hand. Very, very silly from Illan Meslier, who's been sent off with a straight red. So obviously he'll be missing the next 3 games. And the next one, which is one of their harder ones of the season, that's West Brom away from home. It's Whiteman in the centre circle on halfway. All these plays behind the ball. He sends it out to the left here to Miller. Inside to Hughes. Back to Miller. Now with Whiteman on halfway, the number 4 for Preston, who was released at the age of 16 from Manchester United, but he's now had a very decent career at the second tier of English football. Out to the left again to Miller, who's been the most dangerous player on the pitch so far today. Midway side of the Leeds half. He goes for an early cross in towards the far post where the head has been won by Brown. And he hits the back of the net. And Preston take a lead minutes after Leeds go down to 10 men with their goalkeeper Illan Meslier seeing red. And even with a change of goalkeeper, there's nothing Carl Darlow could have done about that. Alan Brown, who scored in the last game between these two sides on Boxing Day in 2019. He arrives again in the box late. It's a great ball in from Miller, right on the penalty spot. He wins the header ahead of Jed Spence into the bottom left corner. What a right-footed curling cross that is from Miller. Onto the head of Brown, who couldn't have directed it any more into that left-hand side of the goal. No chance for Darlow, who's rooted to the spot. Oh, it's a great header from the number 8, Alan Brown, who gets his 4th goal of the season. And in his previous 3, they've won those 3 games. So usually when he scores this season, Preston go on to win. And straight after gaining a man advantage with the Meslier red, they've also gone ahead in the game by 1-0. Alan Brown with the header. It's Preston 1, Leeds 0 at Deepdale. It's a great cross from Miller. He took it on early. He didn't go down the line. It was about midway inside the Leeds half. He chopped onto his right foot, curled the ball in, and like I said, exactly on the penalty spot, Brown got in there ahead of Spence and directed that header into the bottom left corner. No chance for Darlow, who's literally been on the field for about 2 minutes. And Preston take I'd say a deserved lead. They've been very good today. Against the Leeds side, who have come into this game full of confidence after their 4-0 win against Ipswich. And Miller has been sent away again on the left-hand side in the final third this time. 1-on-1 with Gray, the right back. Wants to get onto his right foot. He will do. He'll square it to Osmaic. He'll go back out to the left here to Hughes. It's now a Whiteman, furthest back here for Preston. Plays a simple ball to the left to Lindsay. Hughes. It's on the halfway line still with Whiteman. What more to his right? He'll play it to number 26. Who's looking forward for a pass. Nothing on. So goes across to his left here to Whiteman. Miller on that far side. Skips away from James. He's now 1-on-1 again with the Welshman. He goes back to McCann. And then inside to Whiteman on halfway. It's going to be all Preston, it seems, now on the ball. With that man advantage, they are settling in the possession. The home side. Who haven't won in their last 4 against Leeds. Their last win was away in the League Cup in August 2018. There's a ball through there towards McCann. Just goes under his foot and through for a Leeds goal kick. Yeah, just the one win in the last 11 league games for Preston against Leeds. Their last win in the league was a 3-1 home win in April 2018. So it is usually Leeds who favour this fixture, but it's Preston who have got the luck today, and they lead with half an hour to go. Archie Gray in the Leeds half at right back, goes back into Roden. Then into Darlow, the goalkeeper, who clips it forward. Beyond the halfway line, no one's up there. Usually there would be a Perot up there, but he's on the bench now after being substituted for the goalkeeper Darlow with the Melier red card. And it's Preston back on the ball in their 18-yard area with Woodman. Forward to Whiteman. Dribbling forward from the midfield and playing out to the left to Hughes. Then back into Whiteman, who's just controlling the speed of the play for Preston in that midfield. Dictating the play. And it's Lindsay just inside the Preston half. Looking forward, going out to the right to Watmore and then across to Whiteman. He curls it out to the right, finds Potts. Inside to Brown, the goal scorer. Goes back into Whiteman. Out to the left now to Hughes. Passes the halfway line, playing it forward to Miller. He's been closed down here by Ampadu. Goes back here for Preston, just inside their own half here, with Whiteman, who instigated the Melier frustration for the red card as it's been worked out to the right to Potts, driving away from Spence. Slowing the game down and laying it off here to Brown, who will go early with the cross. It deflects off Potts, he'll chase it down, he'll keep it in the head of the byline. On this near side, Potts still has it, plays it into the space here for Holmes. Wants a 1-2 with Brown. He'll try it. He goes down in the box under the challenge of Spence. It's a clean one. And Kamara can clear through Ampadu. It's now with Rutter. Turning away from Brown. And McCann. Still with Rutter, who's still running forward. What a run this is. Rutter, he's got Somerville to his left. He'll play it now. In the final third. Somerville enters the box. Tight angle for a shot. As he goes towards the byline. On the outside, he squares it. It comes off the Preston number 26. Jack Watmore. And it'll be a corner for Leeds. That's a superb run there from Jorginho Rutter. From well inside his own half. He got beyond about 4 or 5 Preston bodies to feed it down the left for Somerville, who's been able to work his magic for a corner. In-swinger, near post. It's a bouncing one. And the last touch comes off the Leeds man, Rutter. And it'll be a goal kick for Preston. After so much hard work of winning the corner, that's a bit of a waste there by Somerville. It was a low one, it was a bouncer. Would have been hard for Rutter to do anything with it. And they're showing a replay of that tackle by Spence on Holmes in the box where he went down. It was nowhere near a penalty kick. It was a clean challenge, actually, as Nottingham Forest, under Nuno Espirito Santo, are 3-1 up at Newcastle. Chris Wood hat-trick, formerly of Newcastle. What a story that is. So 3-1 at St James's Park. And Millwall have took a 1-0 lead against QPR at home. Tom Bradshaw right on half-time. As Preston lose it to Lindsay. Rutter inside to Kamara. He lets it run through to Holmes. He loses it there, Kamara. What a chance that would have been. Potts now finds Brown just inside the Leeds half. He's drifted out to the right-hand side. He's kept that in. And it deflects off Spence. It'll be a throw-in for Preston. Not good enough, though, there by number 8, Glenn Kamara, who for some reason let the ball run across him. And it escaped him in the end. So it looks like Leeds might be making a double change of their own. So with Preston on the far side with Miller midway inside their own half. He plays it back here to left centre half Andrew Hughes. Ball clipped out to the right hand side. Finds Potts in a loads of room. Will he go for an early cross? He enters the final third on the right hand side. He slows it down. He goes into Holmes, who nutmegs Spence down the right. Crosses. Cleared by Roden to the edge of the box where it's met by the volley of Brown as it loops over the top of the goal. And it'll be a goal kick for Leeds. Nice bit of skill, though, there by Holmes to take it through the legs of Spence. The cross wasn't great. It was well dealt with by Roden on the edge of the 6-yard line. And then the volley from Brown was wild and it went well over the crossbar in the end. Strauch to play it out to the left back. Spence about 10 yards away from the halfway line. He plays it forward to Somerville, who runs out of pitch on this near side. And it'll be a throw in for Preston, who have the lead through Alan Brown. scored straight after Leeds went down to 10 men. Holmes on the halfway. Last touch comes off the winger as he's tackled by Spence. And that'll be a throw in for Leeds on the halfway line. Spence with it. Throws it into the Preston half. Held up by Rutter. Tries to turn away from the three Preston men who were on him. And he can't. And Dwayne Holmes, who's passed forward, ends up being a great heavy touch. In behind. Low ball into the near post. It's cleared away by Roden as Miller was latching onto it. Holmes tried to play it through down the right-hand side to Osmajic. And him and Strauch went down, holding each other. So Holmes just chased down his own pass. And he got onto it. And his cut back at the near post wasn't great. It was easily dealt with by Roden in the end. But it will be a corner kick for Preston on this near side. With the goal scorer Alan Brown. Who's got 2-2 now against Leeds. Both on Boxing Day. One in 2023 and the last before today in 2019. Low one to the edge of the box. Holmes, touch, strikes it, blocked by Rutter. It'll loop back towards Brown, the corner taker, who heads it into the 18-yard box, headed away by Strauch. Comes off the head of Holmes. Can't quite keep it away from Rutter, who will charge down the Leeds left here. And he'll give a free kick there. Rutter just caught as he was dribbling away. Free kick for the away side. As Leeds have had substitutes ready, but they've not made them yet until now. Triple change. So the first change will be number 39, Jed Spence. He'll come off for, looks like, Wilfred Nonto. Crescencio Somerville will be replaced by Matteo Joseph. And Glenn Kamara will come off for Ilya Gurev. So Somerville, Kamara and Spence off for Joseph, Gurev and Nonto. Strauch down the line for James. Inside to Rutter. His pass deflects off Whiteman and then he fouls Whiteman as Rutter tried to win possession back. And it'll be a free kick for Preston inside their own half, taken quickly, and they're already looking to get out to the left-hand side, and they have got the left centre-back on the ball, and that's Hughes. Goes back into Lindsay, midway inside his own half. He goes forward to Whiteman, then back to Woodman, as he was being pressed from behind there by Gruev. Signed in the summer. The Bulgarian midfielder from Werder Bremen is a long ball forward by Woodman. It's cut out by the head of Strauch. And it's kept in here by Potts, who's battling here with Dan James. And Potts is able to keep it, and he goes back to Holmes. Brown, back out to the right to Potts, who stayed onside. Potts back inside to Brown, edge of the area. He fancies shooting, completely miscued it, doesn't get his foot around the ball. And it's sky high into the stands there for Brown. It's a goal kick for Leeds. And in the Premier League, it's still 3-1 to Nottingham Forest away at Newcastle. And in the other Championship game, it is still 1-0 at half-time to Millwall against QPR. It's Joseph up front, can't quite keep it for Leeds in the Preston half. One back for Lindsay. 21 minutes to play this Championship Boxing Day game, lunchtime fixture. What more? High ball, over the top, right-footed, looking for Osmajic. It'll be seen through by Roden to the goalkeeper, Darlow. And it'll be Leeds to start again from the back. Rolled out quickly to Strauch. So it looks like Leeds have gone to a back three here. With Strauch, Roden and Archie Gray. Strauch still inside his own half. He's got Gruev available in the midfield. Doesn't really want to use him, so he'll go back out to the left to James, who's got a bit of space here. 4 Leeds on the near side. He'll drive forward. He's got Rutter on the overlap. He'll play it to the French international, who's in the final third. In the box, goes on the outside of Potts and tackled well by the wing back, and it'll be another corner for Leeds. Really well won by Jorginho Rutter. He was really making things work here for Leeds, despite being down to 10 men. He's been fantastic today, the former Hoffenheim man. As Dan James is over this corner kick on the near side, be a right-footed in-swinger, and possibly the best chance for Leeds to get an equaliser may be from a set piece. Dan James puts it in. It's into the 6-yard area. Header won by Lindsay to the edge of the box to Nonto, who nods it back out to the left-hand side here for Dan James, who's 1-on-1 with Holmes. Can he try and recycle it in the box? He works space for a cross, which deflects off Holmes, picked up by McCann, dribbles away from his 18-yard area, sees a ball out forward, looking towards Osmajic, who shoves Roden in the back, and that'll be a free kick for Leeds United. Can't have any complaints with that one there. Milutin Osmajic shoving the back for Roden to let him get in behind free. As we're going to get a Preston change here, and it will be Milutin Osmajic, who may have not had much fun and much opportunity in front of goal. He was the reason why Illan Meslier was sent off. He pushed the goalkeeper in the chest, and then in retaliation, Meslier shoved him in the face with his hand, and that was seen as enough for a red card. And he'll be replaced by number 9, Ched Evans, who started away at Swansea but was put to the bench for today's game. He's got no goals so far this season, Ched Evans, even though he did miss the first 11 injured. He was their top goal scorer last season, Ched Evans, with 9 goals, 3 of them at home. Possibly he may be a bit more potent with the chances that it could create for him in the last 20 or so minutes. Darlow's clearance deflects off Evans, kept him by Holmes on the right-hand side, but he's tackled there by Rutter, who runs it out of pitch on the Preston right, and it'll be a throw-in for the home side near the final third here. Bit of a shaky clearance there from Carl Darlow. It's now the right wing back Potts with the throw-in. Waiting for some movement, throws it short to Evans, who overruns it on the right-hand side. You can tell he's just come on the pitch. Pretty poor there from Ched Evans, and it's a throw-in for Leeds United, who are still yet to have a shot in the last 20 minutes since the red card. Strack with the throw-in, up towards halfway. Big header away by Watmore. Ched Evans will chase it in the box, but it'll be Darlow to come and collect. Very nearly a good opportunity there for Preston North End, as they want to try and double their lead to try and see these 3 points through. Joe Roden from the back for Leeds, dribbling forward. Plays out to the right here to Nonto. He goes back here to Gray. All Preston players behind the ball. Roden plays it to his left to Strauch on halfway. He's got a few options. He lays it off to his left to James, who spent last season on loan at Fulham in the Premier League, scoring the 2 Premier League goals against United and Everton. Manchester United, that is. Rutter, down the left. Runs out of room. It comes off Potts, though. Be a throw-in for Leeds. Really trying to make it work here, Rutter, despite being down to 10 men. Sorry for the noise. Rutter curls it out to the right. Bit short for Nonto. Collected by Hughes towards Miller, who tries to take a big touch down the left-hand side. Goes out of play. Leeds throw-in. It's now Gurev, the lead substitute from midfield. Finds Ampadu. Forward to Rutter. Can get away. Well, he can't get away from the challenger Miller because he's been brought down by it. Free kick on the right-hand side for Leeds on halfway. Taken short by Gray to Gurev. Out to the right to Nonto. Off the bench once again for Leeds. Wilfred Nonto. Not started any of the last 10 games for Leeds, the Italian. His only goal this season came in their 4-3 away win at Ipswich in August. They worked out to the left-hand side here to James in the final third. He's got a lot of work to do. He lays it off behind him to Ampadu, who's got the angle for a cross. He'll play it low instead to the edge of the box to Rutter. Onto his left foot. He'll strike it, or he'll just drag it wide. They ask for a corner, and I think they receive it. Decent football from Leeds, out for the left-hand side. Found Ampadu on the angle, who played it low to Rutter, who was able to work it onto his left foot. Got the shot towards goal, and it was a key block in the end. And then in the short corner, crossed in by James, deflects to the edge of the box to Gurev. He goes back to Gray. Leeds still have the ball. Gray out wide right to Nonso, who just about keeps it in on halfway. Who has to go all the way back to Darlow. Preston can push out. Roden. Out to the left here to Strauch. Forward in between the lines. Finds Dan James down the left-hand side. That's a great ball. Dan James running away from Holmes. Getting it inside to Joseph. Back to Strauch. Leeds enjoying a bit of possession here for the first time since the red card. And that possession is also in the Preston half. In the final third, Strauch overlapping. James plays it forward instead to Rutter, who gets away from McCann. Nice bit of a turn there from Rutter, then goes down under the challenge, but it can be cleared by Preston. No foul for Leeds United as the clearance is headed back out to the left by Roden to Ampadu. Forward to Rutter. Finds Ampadu again, who has to go back to the halfway line to Roden. Be a devastating loss of 3 points if Preston can't see this through. Against 10-man Leeds. It's Rutter, midway inside the Preston half. Driving towards the right-hand side. He plays it to Gurev. The number 44 for Leeds. Back out to the left-hand side. He's looking. He'll lay it off to Dan James. 25 yards from goal. He's going to go for a shot. And what on earth is that? Balloons it wide right. Goal kick for Preston. That's so poor from the number 20, Dan James. He's not scored in his last 3 games. He did score 6 in 7, though, in a run that went from October to December. But that is not the finish that Leeds United want to be seeing on Boxing Day. Leeds are unbeaten in their last 4 league games on Boxing Day, 3 wins and a draw. The last team to beat them on Boxing Day was Wigan in 2014. So they do usually like the festive fixture, but that run might be coming to an end here. As Gurev heads it back for Leeds in their own half. Strauch volleys forward into the Preston half, headed away by Potts out to the right side to Holmes. Nice flick inside to Evans. Brown forward, he dummies it for Holmes. On this near side, he's got Potts making a full run forward. Tries to play it to him, deflects off Strauch. Throwing for Preston in the final third. Sorry, I've not been reading the comments. Sorry, I had a different screen on. Has there been much threat from Leeds since sending off? No, literally until the last couple of minutes where they've had possession in the Preston half. Obviously, we had that Dan James wild shot. Rutter won the corner from their shot as well. So they hadn't until literally the last 2 or 3 minutes. And is Kamara former Rangers? He is. He is that former Rangers player. Finland international. Just substituted, though, about 10 minutes ago for Ilya Gurev. As Preston have still got it down their right-hand side with Potts. Run down the line. Made by Evans. He'll be found by Potts, who clears it off Roden. And then it comes back off Evans, and it'll be a goal kick for Leeds. Would have been a good corner to win there for Preston. But the last touch came off Ched Evans. And it'll be taken short, the goal kick to Roden, who will dribble forward out of the 18-yard area. Going out to the left towards Rutter, who'd been met by the tackle of McCann. Holmes, 1-2 with Evans. Midway side the Leeds half. Holmes tries to turn away from Rutter, but he's been pulled down by the Frenchman. And there'll be a free kick for Preston. Definitely starting to get frustrated, Jorginho Rutter, and I can't blame him. Just things haven't gone his way, and they haven't gone Leeds' way in this game. And it would have been such a good way to continue their momentum after that really positive win and performance against Ipswich at home. This will be 2 losses in 11 if they lose today. Both of those losses away from home in December. Previous one against Sunderland. And it would just be 2 wins from their last 6 away from home. As Holmes crosses from the right-hand side. And they wait the near post by Ampadu. Holmes fires Brown. Goes back out to the right to Holmes. 1-2 with Brown. Forward to Evans. Lays it off to Brown. Enters the box. He shoots. It's a great bot from Roden. It goes across the 18-yard area and cleared by Joseph. Out to the right-hand side for Leeds, where it's been kept in there by Nonso. Big touch forward. He'll chase it down. But it will be, I think it will be Brown. No, it will be Lindsay to get there first. Back to the goalkeeper, Woodman. Who clears it out the right-hand side. Only as far as Dan James. Down the line to Rutter. He's asking a lot of him, but he keeps it in. And he tries to get around Holmes. He won't be able to do so because he's been brought down there on the byline. And there'll be a free kick for Leeds. Yellow card for Dwayne Holmes. He did well to keep that in there, Rutter. And he took a big touch down the left-hand side. And he was on a race there with Holmes. And I think Holmes realised that Rutter may have got there ahead of him. So brought him down for the free kick. But that was a big chance there for Brown in the box with the shot. Great block from Roden, and eventually cleared by Joseph. Sorry for any noise you can hear in the background. There's nothing I can do about it. But there is 10 minutes to go. Still 1-0 to Preston. Leeds still down with 10 men. It'll be Dan James to cross it near post. It's volleyed away by Whiteman. And the Leeds fans behind that goal were not happy with that delivery from Dan James. It was nowhere near a Leeds player. It'll be a throw-in now taken through Strauch, who'll throw it backwards for Roden. All Preston plays behind the ball as we're near the halfway line here. Roden plays it to his right to Gurev. Out to the left to Strauch. Inside to Gurev. Back to Strauch on halfway as Preston push up the field here. Leeds are a bit suffocated in the Preston half. They've been forced into their own half here. It's now all the way back with Darlow. 9 minutes to play, still 1-0. Roden goes across to Ampadu to his right, midway side of the Leeds half. It's the back with Roden again. Forward into the left to Strauch. Forward to Joseph. Flick forward for James. In the box on the left-hand side. Wants to get onto his right foot. He's been tackled. And it's a penalty. Won by Dan James. Huge call from the referee, John Smith. As he points to the spot. Dan James is running forward from the left-hand side. You know he wants to get it onto his right foot. That's what he tried to do. And as he went onto his right foot, he's been tackled there by McCann. Is that a penalty? Enters the box, wants to get onto his right foot. Yeah, James pokes it away from McCann. McCann then catches James. And I think that's a rightly given spot kick. He doesn't get any of the ball, McCann. And what a lifeline that is for Leeds with 8 minutes to play. Dan James, whose crossing has been far from the required standard. But he's made all of that bad work come to something. As when he gets on the ball and he's dribbling, that's when he's most dangerous. He's won a penalty. It's going to be taken by captain Pascal Strauch, the centre half. He scored in their last game against Ipswich in the 8th minute. And now with around 8 minutes to go over the 90, he's got a chance to make it all level at Deepdale. Strauch slots it into the bottom right corner. And 10-man Leeds equalise against Preston. It's the captain, it's their centre-half with the goal. The Leeds supporters go absolutely wild behind that goal where that penalty has just been dispatched. And could we somehow see mission impossible from Leeds United? And could they somehow get 3 points? It's a really bad giveaway of a penalty by Ali McCann. And from the depths of despair, Leeds have arisen to equalise and possibly go on and win the game. It's his third game. It's his third goal of the season. It's back-to-back goals though as well for Pascal Strauch. And Dwayne Holmes, the American for Preston, has been substituted, and he's going to be replaced by Preston's number 10, Mads Frokaya Jensen. And you've got to remember, Leeds do have 10 men. So Preston, I still think, will fancy maybe getting back in the lead if possible. Midway inside the Preston half, it's Watmore. Diagonal ball, it's a high one out to the left-hand side. Looking for Miller, headed forward by Gray. Finds Nonso. Can't get away from Whiteman, but he does win a throw-in for Leeds, just inside their own half on the far side. I've no idea what's going on outside, but if you can hear that noise, I can only apologise. It's Nonso brought down there by Miller. Midway inside the Leeds half on the far side. Free kick for Leeds United. Gray from right back goes forward to Rutter. Returns it to Gray. He's been forced back towards his own goal. Finds Darlow, who clears it first time. Down the Leeds right-hand side into the Preston half. Headed forward by Lindsay. Helped forward by the head of Ampadu. Joseph lays it off for Rutter on halfway, who shields it away from Brown, but can't quite keep it away from Evans. It's now Frokaya Jensen out to the right to Potts, who will look for Frokaya Jensen in behind down the right-hand side, cut out by the goal scorer Strauch. Played forward to the penalty winner James. And Leeds have got the ball back inside their own half for Gurev. To Gray. Squares it to Roden. Out to the left to Strauch. Forward beyond the halfway line, looking for Joseph. who pulls down there. What more? And it'll be a free kick for Preston, taken quickly. In the centre circle, it's the centre half, Lindsay. Goes to his left here to Hughes. Drives forward from centre back. Brought down there by the challenge of Rutter. And there'll be a free kick on the Preston left. Chance to get this in the box here for Preston. As at St James's Park, it's still Newcastle 1, Forest 3. It'll be Brown to put it in. I'm so sorry. I don't even know what's going on. So Brown, from this left-hand side, will put this ball into the box where it's headed on into the hands of Darlow. I think the header was won there by Liam Lindsay. But it was an easy save in the end for Darlow. Good in swinging cross by Brown. Right on the penalty spot. Lindsay beat Ampadu with a header. But headed it straight into the hands of Darlow. As it's Rutter now for Leeds. Drifting out to the right-hand side. Getting away from McCann, but can't get away from the slide tackle of Brown. Throwing for Leeds on the halfway line. It's Daniel Farker who's asking for some calm. Thrown down the line by Gray. Rutter tries to hold it up here. Goes down in the end eventually and then taken away from him by Miller. Inside to Whiteman. Forward, looking for the run of Miller. It's a bit overhit and he'll be picked up by Roden ahead of Miller. And he'll go back to Darlow in the Leeds goal. Left foot clearance. Up towards Joseph, who heads it out to the left-hand side towards James, who loses out his header to Potts. Drops straight to Ampadu. Lifted ball over the top. Down the left-hand side, it will reach James, who will go across the ball and will win a free kick. Gets taken down there by Brown. I don't really agree with that given. James was going towards the ball, ran across Brown and went over. How does he give that a free kick? That is shocking. That's so bad refereeing. James, not even looking at the ball, runs across Brown, who obviously then trips him because he's ran across him. And he's booked Brown and given a yellow card. Oh, God, that refereeing's horrific. You know, we always say when players don't look at the ball and try and foul another player. That time, James done the opposite. He's looked away from the ball, trying to win a free kick, which has been taken by Nonto. Far post. Ampadu can't win the header. Still alive in the box, though, for Joseph. He can't quite keep it away from Evans. Cleared in the end by Hughes. Going as far as Gray on halfway. He dribbles away from McCann. And then the ball eventually goes back for Darlow. Goes out to the left there to Strauch. Forward towards Dan James, keeping it away from Potts for the moment in the left-back position. Goes inside to Ampadu. Across to the edge of the 18-yard box here to Roden. And then they just restart the game here with Darlow. Just calming the play down here, Leeds. Roden, midway side his own half. Lifts the ball forward. Headed out to the right by Joseph to Nonto. Loses out here to Hughes. Into the Leeds half we go. Hughes lifts the ball over the top. Down the left-hand side for Miller, who will get there ahead of Gray. One-on-one with the right back. Miller driving inside. In the box. On his right foot. He strikes it! And it hits the top right corner. And Preston retake the lead. It had to be Liam Miller. He's been absolutely fantastic today. And he's capped off his performance with a wonder strike against Leeds. From that left-hand side, he's been so dangerous all the way through the game. He was found by Hughes. He had just been able to keep it in on that left-hand side. And as he drove inside, away from Gray, and away from Joseph, who couldn't quite block it in time, he curled it towards the top right corner, and again, a helpless Darlow couldn't do anything to keep it out. Great bit of curl into the top right corner. And it's now goals in back-to-back games for Liam Miller. He scored in their last game in a 2-1 defeat away at Swansea. This time he's scoring again in the 2-1 game, but this time Preston are the team in front. And at Deepdale, very late on, it's Preston 2, Leeds 1. As Leeds are going to have a last roll of the dice. Patrick Bamford comes on for Ethan Ampadu. That is the first time this season Ethan Ampadu's been substituted. Before today, he's played every minute of every game. As Leeds again have somehow got to try and find an equaliser with a man less. James forward to Joseph, edge of the 18-yard box. He's got plenty of Preston bodies around him. He gets it to his right to Strauch. On once more to Gray. Nonso crosses in the box. It comes off the head of Brown, and it'll be a corner on the far side for Leeds. Well won there by Nonso. I just have to shut the door there. Dog's trying to get in. As it'll be a Nonso outswinger. The scenes if Leeds could somehow equalise again. Nonso, it's a great ball. It's looking for Strauch. It's a header won by Potts. Only as far as James, he lays it off to the halfway line to Gray. Out to the right to Nonso again. Midway side the Preston half. Drives inside. Plays it across to the left to Strauch. He's got James once more. He goes forward instead to Joseph, who's holding it up. Back to goal. Lays it off to James in the end. Strauch out to the left to Joseph. Outside the area on the byline. On his right foot. He plays it backwards to Strauch, who crosses it with his left foot. Comes off the back of Potts. And it'll run through for a throw-in. Again, we've hit the 90th minute, and I don't know how long's added on. Do apologise. They didn't show it in the first half, and they're not showing it again. I've got no idea how long's left. I'll try and find out. Nonso, early crossing, flicked on and headed away by Brown on the edge of the 18-yard box for Preston. Out to the left it goes here to Miller. Midway side his own half. He goes down the line, finds Evans. Then tackled by Gruev. And out for a throw-in for Preston. Just going to try and find out how long's been added on. Oh, can't find it. 8 minutes of added on time. Wow, so we've played 2 of the 8. Preston have got it in the Leeds half. Try to kick it off Nonso. Drops in the end here. For Frikaya Jensen. Back out to the left to Miller. He's already got 1 goal. He takes on Archie Gray. He squares it off Roden, and it's a corner again for Preston. And what a performance he's had today. Capping it off with a goal. Liam Miller has been absolutely fantastic. And Preston deserve these 3 points. So it'll be a Preston corner on the far side. And I think they're taking these corners short. 3 minutes played. 5 minutes left of added on time. And it's in the corner here with Ched Evans. Poked away from him and out for a throw-in for Leeds. Didn't quite hold it up for a very long time there. Preston North End. Thrown down the line by Gray. Finds Rutter. Switched it out to the left. It's a curler. It's gone through to Potts. But back to Rutter, whose left-footed ball out to the left-hand side is much better. Kept in by Strauch. Enters the Preston half. Driving inside. Try to play it down the line. It will drop to him eventually and it'll go down the line to James. Tries to go on the inside there of McCann. Stopped in his tracks and it's a throw-in for Leeds in the final third. Strauch throws it down the line to Joseph towards the corner flag. He keeps it in. And he can't keep it away from McCann, but Strauch will win it back. Strauch goes over the challenger, Frikaya Jensen. Won back then by Joseph again. Rutter brought down late by Brown. He's already on a booking. He'll escape a second. And it's a free kick for Leeds on this far left, on this near side. In the final third. Great chance to get the ball in the box. So poor from Brown. Why is he going down? It's a horror challenge. Genuinely, probably a second booking, really. I think he's got away with one a little bit there. Alan Brown, who got the first goal of the day. But Nonso will cross it. It's a dangerous ball in, and it goes straight into the hands of Freddie Woodman. And Preston survive. As they've got 3.5 minutes left to play. Freddie Woodman clears it long into the Leeds half, headed away by Roden, straight to Miller. He goes down the left-hand side, looking for Ched Evans. Roden will get there first and will go over the challenge of Evans. It'll be a free kick for Leeds in a right-back area. As Preston are going to make another change here. It's going to be number 8, Alan Brown. Probably smart there, because he probably should have got sent off then. Number 8, Alan Brown, will be replaced by number 18, Ryan Ledson, central midfielder. Born in Liverpool, came through Everton's academy. So Alan Brown, who scored the first goal, a superb header, with just over half an hour to play. He's replaced by number 18, Ryan Ledson, 26 years of age. Ledson, the midfielder. So Melier, he's been sent off. Darlow takes the free kick. It's a high one. Headed away, though, by Lindsay for Preston. Miller can't keep it away from Gruev, and it's not been kept in by Nonso. Preston throwing midway inside their own half on the far side. Can Ryan Lowe get a win for Preston? It's his first ever game against Leeds as a manager. Could he get a win? Hughes, long throwing down the left-hand side into the Leeds half, headed away by Roden, kept in though by McCann. Down the left-hand side it goes, controlled by Miller, but the ball had just gone out of play. Throwing for Leeds in the end. Goal for Miller and an assist today. Put the cross in for the Alan Brown header. As Leeds try and play out to the left, it does find James on halfway. Back into Strauch. Inside to Gruev, bit of space in the centre circle for him. Quick fire ball out to the right for Nonso. One-on-one with Hughes. In the final third, Nonso low cross. It's stopped by Whiteman. And plays it forward out to the left to Miller, who's been chased down here by Joseph and Nonso. And he goes over on the challenge. I don't think there's a foul there. And play continues. Nonso. Inside to Joseph. Tries to enter the box. And his touch is heavy. And it comes off him last. And that'll be a goal kick for Preston. With just under a minute left to play at Deepdale. In front of a sold-out crowd. It's their highest league attendance since August 1971. And this would put them up to 7th. Yes, other championship teams have got to play, so they might drop down a few divisions. They might drop down a few places, Preston, come the end of this game week. But for now, they would go up to 7th. After just one win in their last 7. Could this be the win that gets them back on track for the playoffs? Woodman clears the ball from the goal kick. Down the Preston left, looking for Evans, who does flick it on. Deep into the Leeds half. It'll be great to get there first at right back. He goes into the 18-yard box to Darlow. Pass forward to Strauch, who got the equaliser from the penalty spot, which was cancelled out by Miller. He'll play a ball forward to Joseph. Into the path of James, cut out by Potts, and played out to the right to Ledson, who clears it forward for Preston. Frokaya Jensen will chase it, but it'll drop through for Darlow. As we played the 8 minutes. Cleared forward by Darlow. Headed out to the left for Leeds towards Dan James. But Joseph fouls Watmore in the Preston half. And that'll be a free kick for the home side. And how much more will John Smith play? Woodman will take this free kick. It could be a very famous win for Preston. It'll be the first time Leeds have been beaten on Boxing Day since 2014. It will stop a run of 3 games in a row on Boxing Day where Preston have been defeated. Woodman takes the free kick. It's a high one, it's a long one, and that's when the whistle's blown. After 99 minutes, it finishes Preston 2, Leeds United 1. It was more than an exciting second half. It had dips, it had lows, it had highs, it had the lot, and it means Preston walk away with 3 points. After losing against Swansea away from home 4 days ago in the 95th minute, they win this game themselves late on through Liam Miller, who's been absolutely fantastic today for Preston North End. And the action and the drama started 8 minutes into the second half. Elon Melier was sent off, the Leeds United goalkeeper, for a shove in the face on Preston striker Milutin Osmajic. And literally, a couple of minutes after Carl Darlow was brought on off the bench for Leeds to go in goal, Alan Brown gave Preston the lead in the 57th minute. An early crossing by Liam Miller found the head of Alan Brown on the penalty spot, who headed it towards the left corner into the back of the net. Darlow had no chance of stopping it, and it gave Preston a lead which may have been deserved even without the red card. And from then, 20 minutes gone after the red card, it was all Preston, but then Leeds started to get a bit of a groove back in the game despite having a man less. And in the 83rd minute, their captain, their centre-half, Pascal Strauch, scored in back-to-back games now as he dispatched a penalty won by Dan James, who was brought down in the 18-yard area by Ali McCann. And you feel like that could have been a really well-earned point for Leeds. But that was taken away from them, from the man of the match, the man who assisted the first goal, scored the second. Liam Miller in the 89th minute, on the left-hand side, cutting in onto his right foot, away from Gray, and shooting before Joseph could block. Whipped it into the top right corner to give Preston a lead, which they defended until the end. And at Deepdale, it ends Preston 2, Leeds 1, and the home side jump themselves up to 7th place in the table, and Leeds stay 3rd, and they could be leapfrogged by Southampton, who, if they draw or win, they could go 3rd. And it does mean now that Leeds, at the minute, are 7 points off 2nd place Ipswich, and even worse, they're 13 points off top place Leicester. And at full time here at Deepdale, it finishes Preston 2, Leeds 1. What a very exciting second half that was. Had it all. The first half wasn't the best. It was very equal. Both teams had, the same amount of half chances, but that's all they were. It was more just half chances, nothing really to speak about. But that second half had it all. Had the red card for the goalkeeper. Had two fantastic goals from Preston. It had the penalty for Leeds. And in the end, it's Preston who walk away with the 3 points. Thanks to everyone who's been here and who has liked as well. 3 more commentaries coming up. 3 more commentaries. We have got Brentford against Wolves tomorrow, 7:30 kickoff. 30th of December, we've got Celtic against Rangers. And on the 31st, New Year's Eve, we've got Fulham taking on Arsenal. They're the 4 commentaries coming up before the end of the year. Make sure you check the channel out for those commentaries. And we'll have loads more coming up in the new year as well. I do want to apologise within that second half for a lot of background noise that was in. My house thought it was a fantastic idea to leave the house when I was doing this instead of just waiting 10 minutes. But what can you do? So I do apologise if any of that noise got into the stream and was a little bit off-putting. It was off-putting for me. But it doesn't matter. Forget about that noise. It's gone now. And we've been treated to a nice little lunchtime Boxing Day fixture between Leeds and Preston. But it's going to be the end of the live commentary. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. And here at a Deepdale Stadium, which has been sold out, and it was the highest league attendance since August 1971. The home side come out 2-1 victory for them. They jump up to 7th. Brown and Miller with the goals. Strauch equalised. It wasn't enough for Leeds. They couldn't see through the point with 10 men, and it ends here. Preston 2, Leeds United 1.